Yeah, you're very welcome along to Tuesday morning's OTB AM. We're here with you every morning from 7:30 until 9:30. Andy Lee is with us this morning. Andy, how are you?
Grand, yeah. How are you?
It's early, isn't it?
It's a good start, yeah. It's a good start.
Would you have been like a dawn riser when you were training for fights?
No, not necessarily, no.
Because there was nothing else to do all day, so why would you get up early? It was always a...
The old adage would be that you'd run in the morning for two reasons, mainly because you haven't had any food, so you can run and then you'd be burning off fat instead of food energy.
Okay.
And also the air is fresher in the morning. But I would run about, but usually around 8 a.m.
Right, so this is in Detroit?
In America, yeah.
Would you have had training camps away from the city?
Yeah, a lot of the time we would have been like Poconos or Florida, or different places in Europe if it was with Klitschko. That was only in those days I used to run early, but later on in my career...
You were like, I'm going to run late.
It's 11 a.m. start.
That's fair enough. Do you miss that bit of like your career where, you know, the endless possibilities of what was coming next over the next 8 weeks were there? Or was that...
A lot of uncertainty, you know, a lot of, like, just unstable. It's not a very unstable kind of life, you know, that it's every fight, it's fight by fight, you know, and if you don't win, then your prospects look, you know, not as good of what, like, you know, you're planning your year, or there's no planning, you know, that's the way it is. And I used to, like, drive by, like, leaving the gym and driving by people having drinks on a Friday afternoon and thinking, like, God, I'd love to be doing that, you know what I mean? Just for the stability and the structure, but you do miss the training, you miss the endorphins, you miss, like, the buzz of it, and you miss, obviously, the physical benefits of it.
Camp itself, was that the best part then, where you knew you had this, like, for the next 8 weeks at least, you know, every minute is mapped out and there's a reason for it? Yeah, there's a goal, and then, you know, obviously the few weeks after it, immediately after fight, you can just kind of relax and decompress. But then, as soon as that's over, like, you're thinking, when's the next fight? Yeah.
Or where is the next fight?
Has anything replaced that? The endorphins and the...
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think anything ever will. So you don't really chase, you know, not really looking for that. Just enjoy it for what it was now, and I think I've become a regular on the Dadcast because that's where I spend most of my time. But other than that, now I'm training the young lad.
Yeah, how's that going?
It's going good. He's making his debut October 11th.
Right.
His name's Paddy Donovan.
And are you more nervous about that now than you might have been for your own debut?
Maybe when it comes to the night, you know, but we're pretty much on top of things. I'm very confident in him. He's a good kid.
What type of fighter is he?
He's flashy. He's not, but he's a southpaw and he's a puncher. There are similarities there. But I don't know. The main challenge with him is because two things. He's so talented. He's never had to work hard to be successful. So I have to, like, kind of ingrain that in him to show him what real work is as a professional, and try to just ease him back a bit because he's so eager.
Yeah.
And he just wants to kill everything, like, so.
I presume that's the hardest part of a young fighter, is that they see some fighters, if they have the right backing, you know, if they're chosen, they get to go through the path pretty quickly. And we realise that in the long run, you kind of have to serve your time. You need to fight the rounds. You need to get the experience.
Exactly, and even it's an all, like, even down to the matchmaking, finding the right opponents, guys who will test him a little bit or challenge him. So that's the thing as well. He has to be challenged because he can easily become not bored but complacent because he is so talented, you know, and think that it's so easy. So I just want to give him enough of a challenge to keep him on his toes as well.
Are you a good trainer? Is this like what? How do you know what? You know?
I don't know. I'm learning as he's learning, you know. And
yeah. Is this the right thing to do today? Or
well, you're just thinking about it at night time the day before, like, what we do tomorrow and how can I, you know, where can he improve? But it's like verbalizing what I want him to do is more difficult. But I have a little advantage because I can display it, you know, in terms of I can give him like this is it, this is what I want you to do with your hip or with your hand or whatever it is, and then can he mimic that, you know, and that'll...
You were quite a technical fighter. Is that the part of the game that's the easiest bit to explain in a way?
That's not, yeah, in a way, but it's also a challenge because I think, like, especially when in the moment, I think he'll do something, then I'll think about it, and the next day I'll be able to verbalise it a lot better. I'll think about it overnight and tell him, okay, this. But he's seen we've had some good spars recently, and the things that we've been telling him to do, when he does them, he can see the benefits of them. You know, so that's positive. You know?
And how do you work on just a hip placement or is it?
It's very hard. It's hard because, and as well, it's not something that anyone will change overnight. It's something that you'll have to be reminded constantly, and drill it, because he's been ingrained in the amateur style of boxing as well for a long time. So these changes will happen incrementally over a long time.
It's not like football where you can just kick with your left foot for an hour and at the end of it you'll be a little bit better, and the next day you do it again.
Yeah, you can do that. You know, the human body's amazing, isn't it? Isn't it? In a way,
yes.
Like when you're trained, you're in great shape. Like, you know, like if I was just to jump in a corner and jump, like by tomorrow I'll probably be able to jump a little bit higher than I could today. You know, so you can make those little small marginal gains.
Yeah. And is that the best part about it? The teaching when it comes off the next day?
And seeing it, and then also getting a little buzz and seeing it, and it's a bit easy because he's so good. So it's not, you know.
Okay, that helps.
It's not that bad.
Definitely helps. 7:37 this morning. I'll tell you what's coming up on the show. We've got we're going to come back to boxing and talk Tyson Fury and what else is happening in the world a little bit later on. We're going to cross over to Japan after 8 o'clock to hear from Rory O'Connor and Owen Sheehan. There's the latest in the NFL after an amazing weekend with Mike Carlson. That's coming your way around about 8:30. Football and the sports news with Phil Egan is coming your way after 9 o'clock. We're going to stream the Irish press conference live from about 8:45 a.m. Brian O'Driscoll was in the studio last night. Here's what he made of Ireland's opening. Have a look.
What about the performance? What did we see here?
Yeah, really good first performance, really good. Just, you know, built on really good foundations. You know, relatively low error count considering the condition, particularly the second half. Built their scores brilliantly well. Again, I think some key contributors really stepped up to the plate. Conor Murray, really great. 60 minutes. Thought some of the pack were outstanding. Great to see CJ stand there back, carrying really well, tackling ferociously. And then, you know, what happened with the 3 forwards tries in the first 20 minutes just set the tone for the rest of the game. So overall, they would have to be very, very pleased. Trying to contain themselves a little bit as much as we containing the public expectation and excitement on my own, because I really felt as though it was. Is it a step too far to say it was the performance so far of the World Cup? Maybe not. I think New Zealand looked very good in parts, but I think as an overall 80-minute performance of just being in maximum control of the game, I think definitely it was a performance, the performance of 2019, that's for sure.
Yeah, from Ireland, definitely. Yeah, that's that. I mean, 3 weeks ago we were like, what's the point? Go to the World Cup, maybe we could pull out.
I know, it's amazing. You know, the difference in one result, but
maybe the truth is somewhere in between.
Yeah, I think it always is.
Snap it down again for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Japan next.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to handle Japan. I think in fairness, it's Ireland against South Africa in the quarterfinals, and we all know it's coming. So there's 3 weeks of like, don't get injured.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So it's just managing up to that point.
It doesn't matter if we scrape through those games. Like if we win with a drop goal in the last minute.
Well, I think you want to win them with a bit of same kind of confidence going into that match.
But I know that we can produce that performance again, and I know that we can definitely put a one off. What needs to happen is that our best players are all fit. That's the key thing, and how many minutes you give them so that they stay fresh and they stay sharp, while at the same time battle hardened.
Yeah, it is looking good though. Like, you're reading the reports, it all seems positive.
I know, yeah, it's terrible. It's a terrible situation as a sports fan to be like, oh no, that we have a chance of winning here. How are we supposed to deal with that? But I think we've got a bit better at it as Irish people dealing with favouritism. Let's start with the newspapers this morning. So I'm going to start with the Irish Independent. Loads of good stories. Schmidt to ring the changes for Japan. So the news is starting to break that we're going to use fresh players against the host nation. I'll get into the details of that a little bit more later on. I know Rory O'Connor has been speaking with Owen Sheehan. We'll bring you that just after 8 o'clock this morning. And then Troy Parrott might get his first start tonight. Certainly he expects to play for Spurs. So he could travel to Colchester for the first team tonight, and he's one of a group of young Irish players hoping to impress. Caoimhín Kelleher and Aaron Connolly may also be in line for starts. So from a situation where we'd no young footballers a couple of years ago to suddenly having loads of good young footballers, the future's looking fairly bright for Ireland. Celebrating Dundalk last night, league champions for the 5th time in 6 seasons. Sean Hoare celebrates after opening scoring for Dundalk last night's 3-2 win over Rovers at Oriel Park. That sealed yet another SSE Airtricity League Premier Division title for the Lady Whites. And then this one, an amazing story coming out of Meath. Hired GAA body to review Meath chairman's message to ref. Colin Keys and Michael Verney of this story. Meath County Board is to ask a higher GAA authority, whoever that may be, to investigate a complaint made against its former chairman, Peter O'Halloran, by referee Patrick Nealis over the content of a WhatsApp message O'Halloran sent in 2017. So the message obviously only recently came to light in recent weeks, and it prompted O'Halloran to step down on Friday, citing an error of judgment. So O'Halloran, who was then the chairman of the county's CCC, said to Nealis, who was the referee, that he would be sending him to ride Slane in a month or so. Nealis said he was shocked by the request and didn't respond initially, but then followed it up a few weeks later on the advice of friends he consulted with, asking what he was required to go to Slane in the hope that the initial text was not meant. The response was, in May or June when things die down. So it never obviously transpired, but O'Halloran and Nealis have confirmed the request was never carried out. O'Halloran said in a statement this week that he sent it in the heat of the moment, adding that it was a bad call that he deeply regretted. He's been Meath chairman since December 2017 and has had to stand down. So the chairman was allegedly asking a referee to ride a different club in a match.
Nice turn of phrase.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Less said the better.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, I'm sure there'll be plenty of legal ramifications, and the examination will be interesting. But yeah, I mean, boxing has its own referees riding people.
Yeah, that kind of links into a story that's on the back of. It's on a few things. So this is the Times Sport, I guess. Down here, Russia faces world sports ban, and it's about Rusada, who has apparently deleted some information about positive tests sent to WADA.
Right.
And they could be expelled from all sports. All sports that participate in WADA governed, sport. Yeah, I guess events. But like recently, there was the World Amateur Boxing Championships last week were held in Russia. And it was what you'd expect, amateur boxing being in Russia. But it was being governed by AIBA, which are now banned from the Olympics. So it's a bit of a strange one. It was originally going to be a qualifier for the Olympics, because since they've been expelled, they've lost their Olympic status. AIBA. This was just a World Championships. But what I meant is that how it links in was that there was a lot of questionable decisions and referees and chairmen, and
it's mad, isn't it? Because they had the perfect amateur scoring system where everybody could see it. It was transparent. The points, it was great, and it really made those fights. In the moment, you knew who was winning. Yeah,
but it was still very, very dodgy.
At least it was a step in the right direction.
There was enough kind of ambiguity where three of the five judges had to press the button within a second of each other for it to register a point. So they could fiddle it a little bit, but
just look left.
But like there was one of the British boxers, Fraser Clark, super heavyweight, beat the Russian, and it was a tight fight. Could have went either way, but he beat him. Was given the decision. The Russian Federation appealed the decision, and then it was overturned.
Oh, wow.
They awarded the fight to the Russian athlete.
That almost never happens, right?
Never happens. And then they gave no explanation and would offer no explanation.
Right.
So, but there was a few of those going on. But
they saw sense. Somebody made them see sense.
Yeah.
The Times London, England test snub, a shock for Bairstow, and then there's a picture of George North scoring Wales' 6th try as they overcame a second-half wobble to defeat Georgia 43-14 in their first World Cup match. And Manchester United's Pogba contract talks. Man United have opened preliminary talks with Paul Pogba over a new contract as they look to persuade him to stay at Old Trafford. It's hard to know if this is designed to try and protect their investment so that they can insert a clause that's the right buyout number for everybody to be happy, or if it is actually the intention of Manchester United to double down and make Paul Pogba the star of their team into the future.
I know, it's kind of like he doesn't play against Leicester, and then they kind of, I'm not sure, Matic is just not up to it, but like,
no.
But they get a good result. If it's not the United, result like scoreline that you'd associate with a United game at home. But then against West Ham, he's not playing. He would have made a difference in that match, probably in the type of match it was.
He's better than the three they have at the minute. So yeah, he definitely would make a difference. And if he was tuned in every week and he decided that he wants to be an absolute club legend forever, well then.
That's probably the biggest question and the biggest doubt as well, is it?
Yeah, I think so. I think if he was into it, he'd be brilliant. Because we saw at the World Cup how amazing he was for France when there was a very specific role that he was performing in a team who had very good players around him. So you kind of feel that too. I'm sorry, just looking for the sports section here in the Times. If you want to.
Yeah, I've got the Mirror Sport, totally lost ints. United have no direction, no identity, and only interest in cash. And this is more pointed at Edward Woodward, yeah. And it's only a couple of lines, it's one of these big back pages and then it has a small section in the inside, but he's basically saying that he's not happy with Woodward and the direction the club's going. And he kind of backs Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but it's kind of across all the papers, isn't it? It's kind of running across, there's more of that carries on. Also, Red Steo did the double. Klopp and Alisson win awards for the FIFA awards. Dundalk, whitewashes on. They're going to go for a treble. And Ireland escaped the glare where Joe Smith has taken them away from the busy crowds in Japan.
Yeah.
It's a good move, I think.
Hard to do as well. So the Irish Times this morning is Japanese message on the challenge Ireland pose is not lost in translation. And here's that picture of Japan's prop is Leili Nakajima during training at the Hamamatsu ground that Owen was talking about yesterday. Healy and Ireland back in the bubble. So this is just pre-World Cup. There's a lot of print to fill between matches because the games are not the 3 days apart that they are in the Soccer World Cup. They're obviously 6-day turnaround for us. Ireland forwards a match for any other pack in the world. And there's the match report yesterday from Wales.
That's the thing, is that with the 6 days, there's enough time for people to get kind of brought into the hype, isn't it? Because they have to fill those pages, so they have to make these kind of things. And people, it'll be interesting to see if the performance is not as good against Japan, what the following 6 days are.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it's, that's how it must be very easy for teams to talk themselves into a death spiral.
Yeah.
And just get carried away either with the hype or with the negativity, whereas actually the games are the things that matter. So that's the Times for you. The Examiner this morning, they've got a big feature on James Ryan, man at work. Ireland coach Schmidt salutes workaholic Ryan. They've got a couple of pieces inside to just show how important he's become for Ireland. Ronan O'Gara's column today saying that France could face Wales in a World Cup quarter-final and I wouldn't bet against them. He was saying that the sporting director at La Rochelle said France not very good at rugby at the moment, except at World Cups. And we're obviously traditionally the opposite, not very good at World Cups. But they won in, I don't know if you saw the Argentina game at the weekend, a weird game. They were sensational in the first half. Argentina get in front. France make a substitution and the guy comes off the bench. His first touch is a drop goal that just squirts over the bar, and then Argentina missed a penalty, which would have won the game for them. From distance, in fairness, but a great game. And I think Argentina could give England a match as well. And they also have a big feature interview this morning, which they don't put on the front page, funnily enough, with Jarlath Burns, who has announced that he wants to be the president of the GAA. We need to ask difficult questions of ourselves. What are we? Who are we? Why do we exist? He's calling for another strategic review, basically. There was one in 2001, which was obviously where the notion of investing so much money in Dublin came from. They did also suggest splitting Dublin in two. They gave them the money, but they didn't split them in two. And he's saying it's time for another strategic review to decide what role the GAA should have in society and how they should interact with the rest of the country. Ready?
Big questions.
There are big questions, and it's important sometimes to ask yourself big questions, especially if you're going for the biggest job in office, as opposed to some of the other candidates who haven't really said that they have a philosophy other than keeping it going.
Yeah. Don't know what. Yeah.
You were never interested in boxing politics or getting involved or getting.
No, it's not. There's no boxing is just a crazy, chaotic kind of. There's not even an organisation because they're not no way organised, so you can't even compare it to the GAA or anything like that or any decent governing body of, sport, whatever, federation. So, no.
No, fair enough. The back of the Star this morning, 2 done, 1 to go. So Dundalk, 2/3 of the way on their way to a treble. Vinnie Perth targeted a first ever Dundalk treble after a 5th league title in 6 years was claimed last night. They did it in style as well. And they also have the story, GAA to investigate events in Meath. So Brian Flanagan has this story. It's going to now be carried out by a higher GAA authority. So the county boards were informed of the message content by the referee, and the Slaying Club also made contact with the board to let them know they were aware of the message. So that's also there. Troy Parrott and Queeveen Keller in line for a debut as well. And Seamus Coleman has been told by Marco Silva, his Everton place, is under threat from Djibril Sidibe. Well, they spent a lot of money on Sidibe, and it looked like that was always going to be the case, but been no sign of him losing his place just yet. Maybe it's on its way.
Yeah, I've got the Herald Sport. Spurs tee up teenage ace Troy. It's continuing on in all the papers. Mick keeps tabs on Parrott, his first team debut looms, which would be great to see him get his first team debut, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Because maybe then we could pick him for Ireland.
Well, that's what, he said if he starts playing for Tottenham, but I don't think if he plays in the Carabao Cup, I don't think that kind of qualifies. I think if he's regularly starting or getting a sub, getting a few minutes in the Premier League, then it's...
What if he's already our best striker?
I know. Well...
Stick him in, right?
You do, yeah. 17, though, it's a big jump, isn't it? From a kind of playing against people who you kind of physically, comfortable against, than playing against men. It is a big difference.
It is, and we'll see how he goes tonight. If he can look after himself in the lower reaches of English football, I'm sure he'll be able to look after himself in the game. So, City Star of the Dock, no joke. Kick it out, slam racist tweet as FA investigates. Bernardo larks around with Mendy during a training session yesterday. So, Bernardo Silva tweeted in a racist manner about Benjamin Mendy, and there's no ifs, ands or buts. It was a racist tweet. And so he should face a ban for it, but doesn't look like that might happen just yet. Perth, core the merrier. Vinnie Perth insists the pressure is on to enhance Dundalk's legacy, so they're doing a good job so far. Messi gets past Van Dijk to net gong. This was interesting last night. The FIFA awards were given out, and Leo Messi won his 6th, which is a record at the FIFA awards for their best ceremony at Milan's La Scala Opera. And Leeds United won the... was it sportsmanship? Was that the whatever it was? It was
they allowed
fair play.
Just to equalise.
Yeah, for the Villa thing. Yeah, this is Leeds United who were also spying on their opponents last season.
Yeah,
it's like
I didn't see what the big outrage was about that Spygate. Like if you can get an advantage by sending someone to watch your opponents and they don't have anything like, if they're not like training behind closed doors and people are not vetted going in there, then you'd send somebody to watch him. Like if I could watch one of my opponents training and see who he's sparring, you'd want to know.
Yeah, you probably could, couldn't you? Most training sessions are.
Yeah. You wouldn't send anybody like.
You're one of your mates.
Yeah. Well,
you need to be somebody.
Yeah.
Below the radar.
Yeah, somebody going in as under the guise of
a journalist
wandering in off the street. What is this place? A boxing gym?
Oh, you look pretty good. Are you fighting soon, son? Mum's the word for Murphy in Middle Park, with Pinatubo lurking in wait for those brave enough to line up for next month's Dewhurst Stakes. The Juddment Middle Park offers up an attractive alternative Group 1 at Newmarket on Saturday, and it's going to be a cracker according to the Racing Post. And they've also got a feature on John Gosden. And then in the back, it's treble winners should maintain their grip on the EFL Cup. This is trophy hog Pep Guardiola putting out a good team tonight, because all the players he has at the minute are pretty good from their perspective. I want to show you this one. This is the Star in the UK. This is the front page of the Daily Star. Boxer Carl, the earth is 100% flat. He might be wrong, but do you want to tell him?
Yeah, Carl Froch. He said this on a few different podcasts now, but I actually did a coverage earlier on this year, back in April, and very much into his conspiracies, Carl Froch.
So he believes the earth is flat. Has he not fought in like other parts of the world.
He has. He famously was delayed going to Denmark to fight Mikkel Kessler because of the volcano. So I'm not sure if he got to look out the window. But yeah, it's a mad one. This flat Earth is a kind of, it's mad, isn't it?
It's so obviously easily disproved. Especially when you're rich like Carl Froch, you think I'm just gonna.
I know. If you live in Middle America and it's pretty much is flat because there's not many mountains around the place, maybe you can have some credence in believing it. But yeah, he believes in, like, you know, he alkalines all these. He drinks alkaline water. You know, removes all the impurities, and he was saying he only eats line caught wild trout.
Right.
So
nice, is it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Has his own garden, grows all his own things. You know,
right.
You know, it's.
So
it seems like he's making it work.
It was a healthy lifestyle.
I wouldn't knock it.
That then merged into this kind of.
Yeah.
He says NASA is faking space photos. Have you chatted to him about this?
Not directly about the flat Earth, but I knew he was kind of like, he kind of hints at it within. I don't know. I actually really like him and talk. Like, within moments of meeting him, he kind of will hint at this kind of thing, you know, conspiracy stuff.
Yeah. I enjoy talking to people about conspiracy theories. I just don't believe any of them.
I used to be deep into it as a teenager. Not as a like as an early 20s, you know, like when YouTube kind of first came around, and, you know.
Was there a moon landing, Andy? Is that what you
I was never so much big into that. Like, remember that 2012, the Maya calendar and all that stuff, and that was all. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Until it leads people to make bad decisions about vaccines.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't affect your life in a daily. I think it's just a bit of crap.
Yeah, obviously, Frampton thinks it's real. So, he's still fighting.
Froch is retired. He's retired. Yeah, he's retired.
The fourth, yeah. So he's now just a commentator, right?
Commentary, yeah. He's got a great lifestyle.
Yeah.
When you talk to him, he's still in great shape. So something's working there.
He's making it work for him.
He's a big poker player.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, he's like an ambassador for one of the poker companies and plays professionally and stuff.
Okay, right. Right, so obviously he still has all his mental faculties as well. Poker's a
smart guy.
Tricky enough game.
Maybe the Earth is flat.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
I'd never been up on a. I'd never really. You know, you look at it, Spain, you just see this spherical. I don't know. Tommy's agreeing with me.
Yeah, he's lucky he's not even paying attention. Right, the Irish News, what have we got for you this morning? Madden handed roll with Tyrone. So former Antrim forward Kevin Madden has joined Tyrone's backroom team. He's going to become one of Mickey Hart's coaches. He spent 2 years previously as an assistant to the Derry boss Damien Cassidy, and at club level he worked with the former Antrim boss Liam Bradley at Glenullen, winning a Derry senior football title back in 2007. And then Frampton, in line for Vegas date with Isaac Dogbo.
Dogbo. Dogbo's a former world champion, so it's a crossroads fight for both of those guys at this stage in their careers. But it was been touted like to be taking place in MSG in December 14th, so maybe it's going to be they're going to have their own card. I know Mike Conn set to appear on that show on the 14th of December. Like, a little bit of uncertainty. I'm sure for Frampton at this stage in his career, like, he was supposed to fight in August. Do you remember this?
The vase
the thing fell on his hand. Yeah. It was it wasn't kind of nailed down to the floor. This big pillar, like a granite pillar.
Yeah.
And mad.
Yeah.
Just fell through a curtain and broke his hand. One of the most bizarre things. And you know, there was a few question marks because remember. Well, not question mark. People were kind of thinking because he was meant to fight in Belfast before, and his opponent slipped in the shower and broke his teeth.
Yes.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
So people were thinking, like, question 2 times. This can't, you know, this is some sort of excuse, but he released videos and looked 100% like actually this mad, bizarre thing happened. So his career's in a little bit of flux. Like, at this stage, he lost his last fight to Josh Warrington. But to come back and beat Dogbo would be a statement to show that he's still at that top level, and he kind of needs that now at this stage. So
he could happily retire at this point, having achieved everything he's achieved, right?
Yeah, of course. 2-weight world champion. I'm sure he's financially secure with all of that as well.
Yeah.
But I think there's something else. I don't think well, now his own words, that he didn't do himself justice against Warrington. And I still believe he's better than he showed that night.
Yeah. He's a funny fighter in that sometimes he'll perform to the very top of his ability, but then when he comes down off that, he's very, very beatable.
Yeah, well, and I think for him it's a lot about the styles, you know. Warrington's a very awkward style, and when someone's being aggressive, which Dogbo would be, Frampton, it looks $1 million, you know. He's not an out-and-out counter puncher, but when he's on the back foot and tricking and drawing people in, he really excels.
Right.
So he kind of needs that kind of a style, aggressive style, to make him look his best.
And if he wins this, is there another world title fight on the cards for him?
There would be, yeah. He's still a huge name, and he probably, having lost to Warrington, he'd be someone people think they could get at, you know. So
yeah,
he has a lot of upsides to fighting him.
Okay, we'll talk about Tyson Fury in a couple of minutes, but it's 8:minutes this morning here on OTB AM. Dundalk won the league last night. They beat Rovers 3-2, a game that they were always in control of, and kind of exactly what you want from the last game of the season. So look at the rain. Miserable conditions to be winning the league title in. Miserable conditions for the snappers to be working in too. But yeah, so this footage from Jamie Moore, who was at the game last night. And obviously for Dundalk, this is proof that they can continue in the post-Stephen Kenny era with all their success. Jamie Moore was there. We're going to hear from Vinnie Perth and Rovers boss Stephen Bradley a little bit later on. It is their 5th title in 6 seasons, so congratulations to everybody from Dundalk, and it's amazing what they've been able to do. And really they've kind of raised the standard that everybody else has to meet now in the league, so congratulations to everybody involved. Now, brilliant competition running this week on OTB AM with thanks to Expert Electrical, where we're giving you the chance to win a top-of-the-range LG 55-inch OLED TV, where you can watch the Rugby World Cup from the comfort of your own home in the best possible way. Some of the many features included are LG ThinQ AI, Google Assistant and Alexa. To enter the draw, all you've got to do is share OTB AM wherever you're watching this morning or listening to the show, and tell us who won the 2011 Rugby World Cup. Expert Electrical is Ireland's largest retail electrical retailer, and they've got the largest range of TVs and soundbars from all of the top brands such as LG, Samsung, Panasonic and Sony. You can shop online at expert.ie, or you can visit one of their 67 stores nationwide. There's always an expert near you.